Hello, this is a past paper of IGCSE February-March 2017, component 2.2. Question number 1. The diagram shows the height of a stack of identical coins. What is the thickness of one coin? Okay, first of all, you should count how many coins are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 coins are there, so 2.40 centimeter divided by 12, which is equal to 0.2 centimeter. So in 4 choices there is no 0.2 centimeter, that's why 0.2 centimeter times by 10, which is 2 millimeter, which you can see choice B is right. Question number 2. 4 balls with different masses are dropped from the height shown. A resistance may be ignored. Which statement about the balls is correct? First of all, according to conservation of energy, because it is said a resistance may be ignored, so based on conservation of energy, we can say that mgh equal to 1 over 2 mv square. Potential energy at height h is equal to kinetic energy near the ground. So you can find a velocity. Velocity is equal to square root of 2gh. As you can see, velocity near the earth depends on height and doesn't depend on mass. That's why more height, more speed. So ball S has the greatest average speed. So D is right. Question 2, D is right. Question 3, an object is traveling in a straight line. The diagram is a speed-time graph for the object, at which labeled point is the object accelerating at a changing rate. Okay, you can see that A is constant acceleration, C is constant speed, and D is constant acceleration or deceleration based on a speed-time graph. Only in point B, as you can see, acceleration is changing. So it is said that the question said the object accelerating at a changing rate. So B is right for question 3. Question 4, which statement about the masses and weights of objects on the earth is correct? Okay, choice A is a balance can only be used to compare weights, not masses. We have different balances. Two-plate balance is used to compare masses. That's why A is wrong. Large objects always have more mass than small ones. So this is also wrong, because sometimes large objects has less density. That's why we cannot compare their masses, because less density, so we cannot compare. Large objects not always have more mass because of density. Mass is a force, but weight is not. So this is wrong, because weight is a force. So D also is wrong. So that's why B is right. Heavy objects always have more mass than light ones, because you know that W is equal to mg. So W is directly proportional to mass. So and we know that heavy objects, so they have more W and they have always more mass than light ones. So based on this, B is right. Question 5, an object in a space prop above the earth weighs 3.5 Newton. The gravitational field strength at the height of the space prop is 7 Newton per kg. The gravitational field strength on the Earth's surface is 10 Newton per kg. What are the mass and the weight of the object on the Earth's surface? First of all, we know that mass is constant, everywhere is constant. That's why W equal to mg, W is 7, on the space prop, and then W is 3.5. Mass is not given, times g in a space prop is 7. That's why we can find mass is 0.5 kg. And we know that mass is constant everywhere. Then we can write again W equal to mg on the surface of the Earth. So mass is 0.5 and W and g is 10, so which is 5 newtons. That's why B is right. Question 5, mass is 0.5 and weight E is 5 newton. Question number 6. A skydiver jumps from a stationary helicopter and reaches a steady vertical speed. She then opens her parachute. Which statement about the following skydiver is correct? Okay. First of all, I would like to explain thermal velocity. In the presence of air resistance for falling bodies, the weight of object will be equal to air resistance force at a point. So resultant force is 0, and this steady speed is called terminal velocity, which is maximum value of velocity. So when object is falling, so first of all, this is a W, and then after some time, air resistance will apply an object, and again after some time air resistance and W become equal. So when they become equal, when air resistance force and W become equal, we say that resultant force is 0 and acceleration is 0, resultant force is 0, and we reach to terminal velocity. In this speed, terminal velocity will be maximum value of the velocity in this question. Okay. Now, choice D is when she falls at a steady speed, air resistance is 0. This is wrong because, as I said, air resistance will be applied to this object when it is at a steady speed, so air resistance will be equal to weight of object. That's why D is wrong. When she accelerates, the resultant force on her is 0. We know that when there is acceleration, then there is resultant force. That's why C is wrong. As she falls at a steady speed with her parachute open, her weight is 0. So this is not possible because weight will be equal to air resistance when she falls at a steady speed. That's why B also is wrong. And A will be right. A, as her parachute opens, her acceleration is upwards. So we know that when her parachute opens, velocity decreases. That's why when velocity suddenly decreases, acceleration will be upward because change of velocity will be negative, and acceleration acceleration direction will be changed and it will be upward. So A will be right for question 6. Question 7. A car moves in a circular path as it turns a corner on a horizontal road. The car moves at constant speed. Which description of the forces acting on the car is correct? Okay. We know that in circular motion, when an object is moving in a circular path with a steady speed, with constant speed, we know that there is centripetal acceleration, which is equal to v squared divided by r. R is radius of this curve, and then centripetal force will be mv squared divided by r. So that's why in circular motion, even when speed is constant, there is an acceleration which is called centripetal acceleration. That's why first of all the forces are balanced as the car is moving at constant speed. This is wrong, because in circular path, if object is moving with constant speed, forces are not balanced. That's why A is wrong. Between B, C, D, we can choose C, because it is said the forces are unbalanced and the resultant force acts towards the center of the circle. You know that Fc is centripetal force, which is equal to mv squared r, which is towards the center of the circle. That's why C is right. Question 8. A moving body undergoes a change of momentum. What is the unit for change of momentum? We know that change of momentum is m times u minus v, or delta v, m times v minus u, and unit of momentum will be kg meter per second. In this question, in 4 choices, there is no kg meter per second, so you have to find unit of change of momentum in terms of impulse, and impulse is force times time of contact, or you can say change of momentum. So impulse equal to change of momentum, or F times t. F is Newton and t is second, so ns will be the answer. So C is right for question 8. Okay, question 9. A man can either take an escalator or a lift to travel up between 2 floors in a hotel. The escalator takes 20 seconds to carry the man between the 2 floors. The useful work done against gravity is W. The useful power developed is P. The lift takes 30 seconds to carry the same man between the same 2 floors. How much useful work against gravity is done by the lift, and how much useful power is developed by the lift? First of all, height of lift and escalator is the same, so W equal to mgh is the same for both of them. So C or D will be right. Now for power, power is W over T. We know that more time, less P, less power. That's why useful power developed by lift will be less than P. So C will be right. Question 10. A 40-watt lamp wastes 34 joule of energy every second by heating its surroundings. What is the efficiency of the lamp? Okay, first of all, efficiency is equal to useful power output divided by total power input times by 100. Okay, first of all, useful power is total power minus wasted power, so 40 minus 34 is 6. Then 6 over 40 times 100 will be 15%. So efficiency is 15%. Question 11. A column of liquid has height h, mass m, and density rho. The gravitational field strength is g. Which expression gives the pressure due to the column of liquid? Okay, I prove this formula. P is force over cross-section area. Instead of force, we can write mg, weight of liquid, divided by A. Instead of mass, we can write rho v. And instead of v is volume, we can write cross-section area times height. A and A cancel out, so you can reach rho gh. So So the answer is rho GH and D is right. Question 12. The diagrams show two mercury barometers. The right-hand diagram shows a tube of larger diameter. There is a vacuum above the mercury in both tubes. Which labeled position on the right-hand tube shows the mercury level in the right-hand tube? We know that mercury goes up because of atmospheric pressure applied on liquid. And atmospheric pressure is equal to this height between the surface of the mercury and level of the mercury. That's why B is right. For question 12, B is right. Very small pollen grains are suspended in water. A bright light shines from the side. When looked at through a microscope, small specks of light are seen to be moving in a random, jerky manner. So what are the moving specks of light? Okay, we know that this is because of Brownian motion, and that's why B is right. Pollen grains being hit by water molecules. You know that mass of pollen grains are more than water molecules, but you know that many water molecules hit the pollen grains and change their directions. That's why they move in a random jerky motion, zigzag motion. That's why B is right. At negative 39 degrees Celsius, liquid mercury solidifies without a change of temperature. Which law shows whether the mercury absorbs or releases energy and what happens to the bonds between the mercury atoms? We know that when liquid solidifies, bonds between atoms becomes stronger. That's why between A and C you can choose one of them, and energy will be released for solidification. That's why C is right. So question 14, C is right. Question 15, a model thermometer consists of a flask of colder water and a stopper with a glass tube passing through it as shown. The model thermometer can be changed in one of two ways. The flask can be replaced with a larger one full of colored water, and the glass tube can be replaced with one with a larger internal diameter. Which statement is correct? Okay, first of all, I would like to explain some information about some factors which increase sensitivity of a thermometer. Using a smaller glass bulb, because contains less liquid, so absorb heat in a shorter time. Number one. Number two, using a narrow tube, as a small change in volume results in the liquid moving a larger distance along the tube. That's why using a narrow tube, which causes increase of sensitivity of thermometer. And the last one, using a larger flask. So these are factors which increase sensitivity of thermometer. Now, in these four choices, we should choose A, because it is said only using a larger flask increases the sensitivity. So using a larger flask increases the sensitivity because more cross-section area will be contact with surroundings. That's why it becomes more sensitive. So question 15, A is right. Question 16, a metal has a specific heat capacity of 360 joule per kg degree Celsius. An object made of this metal has a mass of 2 kg. What is the thermal capacity of the object? We know that Q is equal to mc delta theta, the heat transferred to object or take by object. So C is Q over m delta theta. C is a specific heat capacity, and mc is thermal capacity, which is equal to Q over change of temperature. That's why mc is thermal capacity or heat capacity. So you should multiply mass by a specificity capacity, which is 2 times 360. The answer is 720 joule per degree Celsius. Okay, so C is right. Question 17. In which type of substance are free electrons involved in the transfer of thermal energy? We know that in metals. So metals only, C is right. Question 18. 4 objects made of the same material and having the same mass are at the same temperature. The objects have different surface and different surface areas. Which object emits infrared radiation at the greatest rate? So it is at greatest rate. So for greatest rate, we need large surface area. That's why B and D will be wrong. Between A and C, you should choose. So for, emission, emission at the greatest rate, we need dull surface. So dull surface or black surface will be a good emitter of radiation. That's why A is right. Question 19. A person uses a surfboard to ride every 30th wave crest towards the beach. The wave crest travels at a speed of 1.6 meters per second, and the distances between each wave crest is 24 meters. How many waves crest does the person surf in 1 hour? Okay, first of all, distance between two crests will be 24, which is wavelength. So x equal to vt. So v is 1.6 and t is 3600 because it is said in 1 hour, so 1 hour is 3600 seconds. So the total distance will be 5760 meters. Now divided by 30 wave crest, because so for 30 and the distance between two crests is 24, so 5760 divided by 30 times 24 meter, which answer is 8 wave crest. So 8 wave crest does the person surf in 1 hour. So C is right. Question 20. In question 20, as you know, this is diffraction, and diffraction is perfect when wavelength distance between two wavefronts, wavelength and gap are roughly equal. So in this question, in this figure, you can see that in all figures, in main figure also, wavelength and size of gap are nearly equal. That's why diffraction is perfect. And when diffraction is perfect, D is right. First of all, for A and B, diffraction didn't happen, and for C, curve shouldn't be like that. Wave expand and it will be like D. So D is right. Light passes along an optical fiber. What happens to the light within the fiber? We know that in optical fiber, total internal reflection happens and information or data will be transferred with a speed of light. That's why 21D is right. 22. We know that in converging lens, when rays are parallel to principal axis, after refraction, they collect at focal point. So, first of all, D is wrong because in converging lens, rays will be diffracted to the right side. That's why D is wrong. A and C also wrong because, as I said, they collect at focal point. So only B is right because rays collected at focal point when they are parallel to principal axis before lens. Which statement about sound waves is correct? We know that sound waves are longitudinal wave, that's why C is wrong. We know that they cannot move in vacuum, that's why A is wrong. And they move in solid with the highest speed and in gas with the lowest speed, that's why D is wrong. That's why B will be right for question 23. Question 24, which statement about ultrasound is correct? We know that ultrasound is produced by a rapidly vibrating source. A will be right. It is uncomfortable to human ears. No, this is wrong. Its frequency must be greater than 300 kilohertz. No, because we know that the range of audible frequency is 20 hertz to 20,000 or 20 kilohertz. And more than that will be ultrasound, so it is not greater than 300 kilohertz. It travels the fastest in the vacuum. No, because sound cannot be traveled in vacuum. That's why D also will be wrong. So A is right, question 24. 25, a small compass is placed close to a strong bar magnet, the same distance from each end. Which diagram shows the direction in which the compass needle points? We know that compass is a magnet, and near the arrow will be north and the end of this arrow will be south. So based on this, and we know that light poles repel each other, so north and north repel each other, so that's why C is right. A bar magnet can be demagnetized by hammering it for a long time or by slowly removing it from a coil connected to a power supply. Which row completes a description of how these processes are carried out? If you're hammering a bar magnet for a long time with magnet aligned east-west, or if you are slowly removing bar magnet from a coil connected to AC power supply, then it will be demagnetized. That's why B is right. B is right. We know that a DC power supply creates magnet and make a new magnet. So DC will be wrong for A and C. You should choose between B and D. So B is right. Question 27, which particles move in a metal to cause an electric current? So it's clear, electron. Question 28, the diagram represents 4 copper wires. Which wire has the greatest resistance? Okay, we know that resistance is equal to resistivity times the length divided by cross-section area of the wire. For greatest resistance, first of all, resistivity depends on material. So for greatest resistance, we need largest length and a smallest cross-section. So largest between 10 and 20, so you should choose 20. So that's why A and B will be wrong. Between C and D, cross-section area should be the smallest. That's why C is right. An air conditioning unit, a lamp, and an electric fire all receive electrical energy from the main supply. From which of these devices is all its energy eventually transferred to the surroundings? Okay, key. At all energy transferred to surroundings, so tick and cross, not all energy transferred to surroundings. This is key for this table. Now, we know that air conditioning unit, lamp, and electric fire, all energy of them transfer to surroundings. That's why A is right. Between A and A, B, C, D, A is right. Question 30. 4 circuits are set up. In which circuit does the ammeter show the greatest reading? Okay. First of all, we should calculate total resistance of each circuit. So for A, because these are two parallel and current can pass from this diode and also this diode, that's why we have to find total resistance. By using 1 over R, you can find R for circuit A equal to 1.2 ohms. For B is 3 ohm because current cannot pass from 2 ohm. That's why only can pass from 3 ohm, so RB is 3 ohm. For C, current cannot pass from these two diodes, that's why for C current is 0. And for D, total resistance will be 2 ohm because current cannot pass from 3 ohm. That's why total resistance will be 2 ohm. So we know that the least resistance, the most current. So according to this, A is right. Question 30, A is right. Question 31, the diagram shows an electric circuit. The light falling on the light dependent resistor increases in brightness. Okay, when you increase resistance of LDR, we know that, when you increase brightness for LDR, so resistance of LDR decreases. That's why between A and B you should choose. C and D will be wrong, because when you increase brightness, resistance of LDR decreases because LDR is semiconductor. It is made of silicon. That's why usually it is made of silicon. That's why when brightness increases, resistance decreases. Okay, and then when resistance decreases, current increases. Current in the circuit will increase because when resistance of LDR decreases, resistance of total circuit decreases. That's why current in fixed resistor increases. And then when current current increases. Now reading on voltmeter. We know that power supply has a fixed voltage. When you decrease resistance of LDR, then voltage of LDR decrease as well. So voltage of LDR decrease. So when voltage of LDR decreases, then reading for voltmeter will increase. Why? Because, as I said, voltage of power supply is constant. So this is constant. This is constant. When voltage of LDR decreases, voltage of reading for fixed resistor must be increased because power supply voltage is constant. So if one of them decreases, another one must be increased. That's why B is right. So question 31, B is right. Question 32, the diagram shows two link circuit to control when a bell is switched on. The conditions are altered and only one pair of conditions causes the bell to ring. Which pair causes the bell to ring? Okay. First of all, we know that this is a relay. This is a relay, and relay works when operating PD is enough to close the switch. Okay, it means potential difference of relay must increase. That's why potential difference of thermistor and LDR must decrease. Then potential of these two components must be decreased. That's why resistance of thermistor and resistance of LDR must decrease, because voltage potential difference of them must be increased. That's why resistance of LDR and resistance of thermistor must be decreased. For that, we need to give more brightness to LDR. So C and D will be wrong. So bright light, and for thermistor, we need high temperature to decrease resistance. That's why A is right. Choice A is right. Question 33, the truth table for a logic gate is shown. Which type of logic gate is it? So when input 1 is 0, input 2 is 0, the answer is 1. So when these two are 0, the answer is 1, and for other choices, the output will be 0. That's why it is NOR gate, because in NOR gate, when both of them are 0, output will be 1, for other choices will be 0. So this is a NOR gate. Question 34, in this circuit, a component at X automatically protects the wiring from overheating if there is a fault. Which rod indicates components that are suitable? First of all, one important point is that switch works manually. That's why you cannot use switch for automatically protection. So for switch, you cannot use automatically. That's why A and C will be wrong. Between B and D, you should choose. We know that circuit breaker and fuse have same application and they work automatically. That's why B is right. Question 35. The diagram shows a simple transformer with an input of 240 volts and an output of 40 volts. There are 600 turns on the primary coil. How many turns are there on the secondary coil? Okay, using this formula for transformer, voltage of primary divided by voltage of secondary equal to number of turns of primary divided by number of turns of secondary. By using this formula and substitute information, you can find NS. So NS will be 100 turns. So question 35, A is right. Question 36, the diagram shows a circuit carrying wire. The diagram shows a current carrying wire. The wire is at 90 degrees to a magnetic field. The direction of the magnetic field is into the page. A force acts on the wire due to the current and the magnetic field. In which direction does the force act? So using right hand rule, if your four fingers are in direction of current, then you can, if you open your thumb, you can find direction of force. In this question, if a magnetic field is into the page. So that's why your thumb will be towards the top of the diagram. So D is right. So four fingers in direction of current, and then your thumb, if you open your thumb, it will be direction of force. Question 37. A radioactive substance emits radiation at the rate of 600 emissions per second. 4 hours later, it emits radiation at a rate of 300 emissions per second. First of all, when number of substance decreases to half, the time taken is called half-life. So half-life for this question is 4 hours for this substance. So half-life is 4 hours. And then It is said that what's the half-life of the substance and what is the rate of emission after a further 4 hours. A further 4 hours, so again after 4 hours the number of remaining substance, radioactive substance, will be half. So 300, half of 300 will be 150, and half-life will be 4 hours. That's why question 37, D is right. Question 38, the nuclide notation for the isotope of silver is Ag 109 and 47. How many nucleons are in the nucleus of this isotope? We know that nucleon number are written above the substance symbols. That's why 109 will be number of nucleons. So C is right. The equation represents an isotope of radium Ra decaying to an isotope of radon with emissions of particle X. What is particle X? Okay, based on conservation of mass energy, some of the nucleon numbers on the left side must be equal to the right side. So that's why 226 equal to 222 plus unknown, which I call it n, so you can find n. N will be 4. So that's why the only choice C will be right. Last question, an atomic nucleus decays by one or more radioactive decay processes. What causes the proton number to decrease by 1? Okay, we suppose that substance is X, A, Z. So after decaying will be Y, A, and Z minus 1 because it is said decrease by 1. Plus alpha, which is 4, 2, and plus beta, which is 0, negative 1. So only I count a number of proton or atomic numbers. So I have 1, negative 1 here. So 1, 2, and Z minus 1, as the question said, equal to Z. So we can conclude that we need 1 alpha and 1 beta to decrease proton number by 1. So we need 1 beta and 1 alpha. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video clip. If you have any comment, please let me know. Thank you and goodbye.